Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another session with Emenne Ifeanyi. Today we are going to be looking at relationship. And before I start, I want to thank you all my listeners who have been watching all my videos and most of your comments. It's really inspiring where you get about 100 messages, 100 comments on your post, and about 90 to 95 of them are people just saying thank you and appreciating the job you are doing. So I want to really appreciate those of you who have been commenting on most of the other videos that we've been posting. Now today we are going to be looking about on marriage, because something happened in my house yesterday night which made me this morning change the topic that I want to discuss about today. Now, somehow my house has been a center of attraction for women who are having challenges. They tend to find one way or the other, my wife tends to be a crying shoulder for most of them. And yesterday night, as usual, one of the women came, and when she started to lay her complaint to my wife and the challenge she was having with her husband, it dawned on me that there is a serious need for us to start to work on our marriages and our relationships. And it's also part of the reason why I said we'll be running a marriage seminar on the 13th of February titled "The Lessons the Business of Marriage Has Taught Me in 2015. The whole essence of the seminar is what are the lessons you learned from your marriage, what are the mistakes you made, or what are the things you didn't know about running a wonderful marriage in 2015 that you want to learn in 2016. I think that marriage needs to be run like a business. And when you run it like a profitable business, there's nothing that will keep your marriage from not succeeding. So I want to invite those of you who want to attend the seminar coming up on the 13th of February to register on our, send us an email of your name, your phone number, and address. Send it to, you can keep the address, just name, phone number, and email to corporatecounselor@gmail.com. Or you can also text them to our phone number on 08023622171. I really want men and women, mostly men, because I'll be focusing more on the men, because I found out that if a man can get the direction of his marriage right, basically it's very easy for him to run a very wonderful marriage. And like will be our usual practice, I always like to read a portion of one of my books to help us set the ball rolling. And today I want to be reading a part of my book titled "The Strangest Financial Secrets." Now this is about rules for living happy in a tough financial time. It talks about the problems I went through when my business collapsed and how I was able to rebuild the business back, and not only rebuilding my business but also fixing my marriage, which was having serious challenges. Because at a particular point in my marriage, in fact I've been in the marriage business for about 6 years. This is my 6th year in marriage, and twice in the course of these 6 years my marriage had come very close to collapsing. I had come very close to divorce twice, and I had to sit down one day and ask myself, do I want this marriage to work? And when I said yes, I decided to now do a series of things such that as at now I'm having one of the best relationships with my wife and my children. So I think for those of you who are in marriage, this book too will also help you. I want to read a part of the book that says, be grateful for what you have. Now, it says, no matter what you are passing through, someone somewhere would gladly swap places with you. You need to realize that when you have no shoes, there are actually people who have no legs. If you can breathe, there are people who are on life support. If you have a family, there are people who do not have anyone to talk to or console them. You need to realize that whatever is happening to you is not the worst that could have happened. So learn to be grateful for what you have. For me, I am grateful that God gave me the most loving and understanding woman as a wife. I am grateful that He gave me children who rarely get sick. I am grateful for the 3 to 4 years I was passing through my struggles, that no medicine crossed my mouth because I never fell ill. I am grateful that God always provided for my needs when I even when it seems all gates were shut against me. You may be passing through some tough times, or you may just be trying to keep your head above water. You need to understand that challenges come into your life to move you to the next level of your life. Great advancement in human history have always occurred in times of great difficulties. Most of the advancement and innovation we have witnessed came about as a result of war, disasters, and economic turmoil. You cannot progress in life if you do not overcome your difficulties. So today we are going to be looking at how can somebody run a very good relationship, run a very good marriage. Now, when I was growing up, there was something that always baffled me. I was looking at most of our parents, and I realized that it was not the same level of passion that young couple who were just still in relationship, what they had. That was not what most of our parents had. And I wanted to know what are the things that our parents were doing differently. And the more I studied it, the more it was pushing me to a part of the Bible. And the part of the Bible was the part about the marriage, what happened in Cana when Jesus attended a marriage ceremony. And the more I studied it, the more I came to realize that there are two phases of every relationship, of every marriage. That marriage moves from phase 1 to phase 2. And that if you as a man, you don't know how to engage the gear of marriage to transit from phase 1 to phase 2, it will almost be impossible for you to run a very happy and wonderful family. So today we are going to look at what I titled the principle of first wine and second wine in marriage. These are the principles that if you understand, you know how to do, what are the things you need to do to run a successful marriage. Now, a brief background. Jesus and his disciples were invited to a marriage wedding. And also the mother of Jesus was invited. And in the course of the marriage, the wine that were being served got exhausted. Apparently, the bridegroom and those on the sitting at the high table did not know what was happening. But Mary sensed that their wine, the wine being served had exhausted, and she immediately went to Jesus and said, "Son, their wine has finished." And Jesus turned to her and said, "My time has not come, so why are you coming to me?" She immediately turned to the servant and said, "Whatever he tells you to do, do it." And when Jesus now talked to the servant and said, "Fill these big jars of water with water," and they filled the jars with water, and he now told them, "Draw some of the waters and take it to the people in the high table." Now when these guys drew the water and were taking it, suddenly the water turned into wine. And when they gave it to the chairman of the occasion, after tasting it, this man turned to the bridegroom and said, "How come you are serving the best wine now? That people normally serve the best wine at the beginning of the marriage ceremony, and now the bad wine later on. How come you are serving the best wine at the end?" Now, in the course of these things were a series of things that happened. A series of lessons are buried in this story that if we can grasp, it will be a lot easier for us to know how to run a wonderful marriage. So, I want to, by the grace of God, to walk you through certain things that I feel that if we can grasp, will make it easier for us to run a very successful marriage. Now, the first lesson we must learn from this, what happened in Cana was that for you to be able to run a successful marriage, you need to know that marriage starts with new wine of passion and love. Most time when you just get into the marriage business, especially in your first year, or when you are still dating, you find out that the key thing that will be driving your marriage will be passion and love. Now, most people tend to feel that this is what will continue to drive their marriage. Now, passion and love are very critical because they are the first wine that you are moving into the marriage business with. Those are the things. That is why most time when you start your relationship, you are in a marriage, you find it difficult not to call your wife or your husband every 2 to 3 minutes. Every time you are sending text message. Now you need to understand that this is the first wine of a marriage. And you need to understand that this passion cannot drive a marriage forever, for the duration of your marriage. That this is more like the first wine that was served in this marriage in Cana. That for you to have a thriving marriage, you need to understand from day one that this first phase of passion and love will pass out. So, it's important and critical for you to understand that the marriage starts with new wine of passion and love, but can last with the second wine of understanding and wisdom. Most of our parents that have been in marriage business for 20, 30, 40, and 50 years, you tend to find out you don't see that passion in them anymore, but you still find that love, their marriage lasting, and they're both of them enjoying their marriage. It means that they have started to drink the second wine of wisdom and understanding. And it was when, for me personally, when I understood the second wine of wisdom and understanding, and I started to bring it into my relationship, that was when I now started to move. I moved out of the phase of having a struggling marriage that was about to hit the rock to having a very wonderful marriage now. I want you to understand that the key thing that will drive your marriage is that second wine. If you fail to understand that the second wine must definitely come, that you need to understand how to generate the second wine, it will be very difficult for your marriage to last. Most people tend to move into marriage based on passion, based on emotion. But one thing that you need to be certain about is that at most, maximum 3 to 4 years, that passion will burn off. And it's the second wine of understanding, of enduring love, of wisdom, that can help your marriage to sustain and thrive and become a happy marriage for a very long time. Now, the other second part too, that thing I also need you to understand is that you must have a mature person around you who is noticing the finishing of your first wine. One of the best things that those couples did when they were sending their invitation card was to invite Mary. Now, most time, because if they had not invited Mary, nobody would have noticed that the wine was finishing. Everybody would have just been there and the wine would have drained. And imagine what would have happened to the woman that on her best day, there was no wine to serve her guest. Now, for most time, when you just get married, one of the first advice you'll be given is that don't share your problem with anybody. But I've come to realize from my experience and from experience of those who have found out who are running a very successful marriage that one of the first things that you must get, one of the first things you must start to look out for once you are getting into marriages, start to look out for somebody who has had a very wonderful relationship with their partner. Start to look at somebody who has been in this marriage and you know that you are enjoying their distance, enjoying their relationship, and start to get close to that person. You need somebody who understands the marriage business. Because for me personally, when the challenges start to happen, there is a marriage mentor that I have. He was the person that I reached out to. And he shared some advice, some wisdom with me. And these were part of the things that helped me to navigate my trying times when my marriage was almost collapsing. I can tell you that the advice of don't share your problem with anybody is not really the best advice that you can get. You need to find out at least one person who has been able to run a very successful marriage. Somebody who you admire, somebody who you can see is having a very successful marriage, somebody who you can see having a very successful relation, who is mature in the marriage business. You need to find out one person and start to get close to that person. I can tell you that if you don't have somebody who you can talk to, it's not necessarily somebody who has had a very long marriage relationship, but somebody who you can see knows how to manage his family very well, knows how to manage her family very well. You need to find out somebody like that and get close to that person. For me personally, me and my wife, we've been in the marriage business for about 6 years. But although my wife tends to get more of the distance, most times you find people who have been married for more than 10 years, 15 years coming to her and say, what do I do in this kind of situation? It means that you need somebody who is mature, not somebody who has been there for a very long time. Yes, for me too, a lot of men come to me and say, I'm having this challenge, what do I need to do? So for you, look around you and find out somebody who is mature and get that person close to you. Have at least one person. I have one person who, when I'm having some serious challenge, I reach out to and say, these are things I need to, what do I need to do? Everybody needs to have at least one person who they respect and admire, and they can go to in the time of serious marital challenge. You might. Now, the next thing you also need to understand is that because you are having a wonderful marriage and things have been moving smoothly for you, doesn't mean that crisis is not lurking around the corner. Because at Cana, everybody, this was a marriage party. Everybody was enjoying, everybody was having fun. And nobody was noticing that the wine was running out. It means that in your marriage now, you might be having fun with the first wine. You might be enjoying everything without even noticing that your wife is no longer as happy as she used to be. It means that in the midst of so much happiness, so much passion, underlying might be dissatisfaction. I know a couple that were having, so the husband felt that he was having a wonderful time, but the woman was having some serious challenge because she was seeing that how, yes, they were having fun, but she was wondering, do we have enough funds to sustain this marriage? Do we not have enough savings to sustain us in case anything goes bad? You need to understand that in the midst, when the merriment seems to be very high, that is when you now need to start to sit down and analyze your marriage. Because in Cana, when they were having so much fun, in the midst of that fun, there was an underlying crisis that almost everybody missed. You too need to understand that in your own marriage and start on time to look for wisdom. Start to look at for understanding. Ask yourself, what are the critical things? Yes, I'm enjoying my marriage, but what are the critical things I need to be doing now? For me, one of the things I do regularly is, despite the fact that, yes, quote unquote, my marriage is on a scale of 1 to 10, I might give it happiness level of about 70 to 80%. But almost every month, I try to attend one marriage seminar. I try to listen to marriage talks. I try to read relationship books. Because yes, I know that the passion aspect, the first wine of my marriage is running out, so I need to refill with the second wine. You too also need to learn how to start to refill. Start to attend marriage courses. That is why I'm strongly advising, for those of you who are in Lagos who can make it, attend this coming seminar that we're having on the 13th of February. I think it can really, really help you. So look around you. There's also a seminar on YouTube that I strongly advise every couple to watch. It's called A Tale of Two Brains. The tale is T-A-L-E, A Tale of Two Brains. Every married couples must watch this seminar. When you watch it, you'll be amazed at things that you don't know about your spouse. It's a 3-hour seminar, but you can get the shorter version. But just try to watch the complete length of 3 hours, and you'll be amazed at how you can transform your marriage by just watching that seminar. Now, the next point also I want you to understand is the second wine of your marriage, which is wisdom understanding, that the source of the second wine, most time will not make sense to you. Now look at that Cana. How did the second wine come about? The second wine came about because the servants, Jesus asked them, draw water from this big jar, normally used for washing hands and washing your feet before you come in. Draw water from here and take to the high table. Now if you look at it, does it make sense asking somebody to draw water and take to the high table? Now, the lesson here is that the source of wisdom and inspiration that will change your marriage and help you survive transition from the first wine to the second wine, most times they will not make sense. On the average, if you check most of your friends and colleagues that are married, I can guarantee you that if you tell them that go and attend a marriage course, less than 5% of them will agree to attend a marriage seminar. Now, maybe for you are a graduate. Ask yourself, before you become a graduate, what did you do? You first have to go through a series of courses. You need to go through the university, or even for you to for you to learn to read and write, you need to attend your secondary school. How come people now just jump into marriage and assume that they know everything about marriage? It means that for you to gain that wisdom and understanding, you need to deliberately start to do some uncommon things that most people in the marriage business will not do. I can tell you that if you tell your friends that let's attend a marriage course, most of them will tell you that I know everything I need to know about marriage. But if you look at their marriage is passing through some very serious challenges. So for you too, you need to understand that the source of wisdom, understanding that will transform your marriage will come from the conventional sources. So start to look out for the unconventional sources. Start to look for books. Start to look for seminars. Start to look for audio messages. Start to watch videos of marriage and relationship. The more you do this, the more you start to tap into on this unconventional one, and stop, because most time when we want to ask for marital advice, is mostly our friends and family that will ask advice from. And I can tell you that, especially even from my experience, most advice I've gotten from friends and family, if I had deployed them in my marriage, would have gotten my marriage into more crisis. Assuming you, for instance, yesterday my wife wanted to make a soup, and when I looked at it, she was very tired. I went and boiled some of the ingredients she will be using to make the soup. I went and helped her out in the kitchen. Now, most men, when you are discussing with men, say, I normally help my wife out in the kitchen. They say, you helping out your wife to cook in the kitchen. You are just disgracing yourself. But because I've seen this work, I've seen the impact this has had in my relationship, I've always, when she's cooking, I always try to play a part in helping her out in the kitchen. These are unconventional things. The wisdom and understanding that will transform your marriage, like I said, will not make sense from the sources they are coming to you from. So, realize that the conventional source of getting information will not change your marriage. And the next point I also want to make is that beware of public figures you look up to handle your marital problem. In Kenya, when they were having a party, and there was a chairman of the occasion. The wine has finished, and this man did not notice that wine has finished. Most times, a lot of this public figure, a lot of these high-class people you are looking up to say, okay, I'm admiring people. Most times, most of these people will disappoint you. And one of the present most disappointing public figures that most people used to look up to are the golfer Tiger Woods and what's this called again? The Huxtables. Most times, a lot of the public figures you look up to will disappoint you. A lot of the people you look up to in your marriage to say, okay, I want to build my marriage like this. Most times when you get close to them, you'll be disappointed at what you find. That is why don't try to mimic somebody else's relationship because you are looking up to them. As long as you have somebody who you can see is mature, have that one person, and every other person, just look at them and say, this is a public figure, but there might just be a crisis behind that. If I look up to them, and when their marriage starts to collapse, I might lose faith in the institution of marriage. Most marriages are crashing because those people we are looking up to, we find out that we've held these people up in high esteem for a very long time, and when their marriage starts to crash, suddenly we lose interest in the institution of marriage. So beware of the public figures you look up to. The next point is that if you rely on the first wine of passion and love, your marriage will move from sweet to sour. What do I mean? You know, the chairman of the occasion said, so the bridegroom. People serve the sweet wine first. And when everybody has drunk, that's when they now serve the bad wine. It means that most times, the expectation of most people in marriage is that your marriage will start very wonderful, very sweet, and now start with time gradually to become sour. Because everybody expects you to just have one type of wine. But when you now understand that that there are two types of wine, and you serve the first one of passion and excitement, just having fun with your family, your wife, and your children, and you understand that there's a second phase wine that you need wisdom understanding to transit into, you find yourself, instead of how your marriage moving from sweet to sour, you are moving now from sweet to delicious. Most people, when they see the kind of relationship I have with my wife, they wonder, wow, what are you people doing? In fact, recently when I had a birthday for my last child, almost all the women who came in there, one attendants were asking me, what are the things you are doing in this your marriage? I can tell you that your marriage must not necessarily move from sweet to sour. You can actually move your marriage from sweet to delicious if you understand how to get the second wine by doing all these things I've been telling you about. And having a mindset that not all marriages move from sweet to sour. That you don't need to move from having a wonderful relationship and just being two people living together under the same roof with your wife. They can actually move from being a married couple to having a relationship that looks like two teenagers that are in love, getting more and more in love as the years go by. You can do this if you understand that with a second wine, your marriage can move from sweet to delicious, not from sweet to sour. And the final point I want to talk about is how to get the second wine. It's essentially what I've been talking about all this while, but number one, you need to start to attend marriage seminars. Number two, you need to start to read business and relationship books. That is why I say again, a book like this is called Strangers' Financial Secret, but it's on the route for living happy in tough financial times. Books like this are things that will do wonderful things for your relationship. Like there's a place I said, open a crisis fund account. I said a man was woken up in the middle of the night by his pregnant wife. She was already in labor and needed to get to the hospital at once. But there was a problem. The man did not have any money at that point. He had to go to knock on his neighbor's door to collect some money with which to pay the initial hospital deposit. Imagine what would happen if you were in that kind of situation and none of your neighbors had money to spare. Set up a crisis fund account where you must start to manage your finances in this economic downturn. You do not want to experience financial crisis. Therefore, you must be prepared for any crisis before it starts happening by having something set aside before you reach out for help. Actually, this thing happened to me, and this happened about 5 years ago when I was in a financial crisis. My wife woke me up in the middle of the night. We needed to get to the hospital, and there was no money. So I had to go knock on the door of my neighbor. Imagine what would have happened if there was no money. Now, the point is reading books like this tells you what to do. You can start out on time to learn how to prepare your family. Start to attend marriage courses. Start to attend marriage seminars. Start to look around you, to study marriages of those having wonderful relationships. Ask yourself, what are the lessons I need to learn from this? I can tell you that the current challenges, divorce rates, your marriage shouldn't be part of the statistics of the increased divorce rate. You can save your family, you can save your relationship. All you need to do is study the two types of wine and understand how to transit from the first wine to the second wine. Now, for those of you who feel that you need to buy this book, you can actually get it online on Konga at www.konga.com. When you get to Konga, just kick in the name Strangers' Financial Secrets. Or you can just type in my name, Emenne Ifeanyi, E-M-E-N-N-E, space I-F-E-A-N-Y-I. Once you just do this, the book will come up and you can buy it from Konga. And for those who want to buy it, because most time I don't know why, but people tend to want to transfer money to my account so that I can send it to them. You can, if you get it directly, if you want to get it directly from us, for each copy you order from us directly, you actually get a copy of this second one called Strangers, a King's Secret Code for Success. So if you order directly from us, you get these two for buying this. And it actually goes for 2,000. On Konga is 2,000, and from us too is 2,000. But if you buy directly from us, you just transfer to our account, you get a copy of this one free. For those who want to buy from us directly, you can call 080-2362-2171. Now, for those of you who are having some marital relationship and marital challenges, I would like to just share a word of prayer with you. And I want to say that the Lord has established the two of you, because the Lord says that from the beginning He made them one. And so shall a man leave his wife, his mother and father, and be joined to his wife. I want to pray that anything that is making your husband or your wife not to be joined to you, that I lose that bound now in Jesus' name. And the Bible tells us also that the two of you shall be joined together, and that what man God has joined together, no man shall or anything shall put asunder, should put asunder. And I decree in your life that that which God has joined together, that no situation, no person, no institution, no element shall drive you apart. And I also pray that the spirit of wisdom and understanding will be bestowed upon your marriage, that the spirit of the miracle of Cana will be brought into your marriage now, that the hand of God shall be upon your marriage and shall reestablish it, that joy and love and passion and wisdom and understanding shall be poured upon that marriage, and that the joy of the Lord shall be your passion, that the joy of the Lord shall rest upon you, and you shall find peace, you shall find wisdom, you shall find understanding. And everywhere you go, you shall start to see your relationship, you shall start your marriage as that which the Lord has ordained from day one. That the Lord shall bless your marriage and give you peace, and give you joy, and transform you and make you a new being. Thank you for listening to me, and God bless you.